Let's begin by offering our respects to the founder Acharya of ISKCON, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Jnana timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurun militam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha. Nama om Vishnu padaya Krishna prestaya bhutale Srimatte Bhakti Vedanta Swamin itti namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Pancha Kalpa Taruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Om Namo Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Okay, we welcome all of you to our weekly Bhagavad Gita classes. We have with us here Dikti Adnani, Lavina, Disha Jadwani, Disha Melwani, Kalpana Heblekar, Anjali Karnani, Kushbu, Komal, Bhumika, Manju. Then we have Venkatchari, Pavani, Ranjit Das, Saket, Sandra, Srinivas Yedla, Varsha Mayani, and Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Okay. Do we have any questions from the previous class? We finished with chapter number
2. Second chapter.
Yes, we finished chapter number 2. Now we will see in chapter 3, Arjuna is confused. And he tells Krishna that you're giving me contradictory instructions. Because Arjuna is thinking that Krishna on one hand, he's telling me to fight. And on the other hand, he's talking about peace. He's talking about renunciation. He's talking about controlling the senses. See, so let's see the exact verses for a better understanding. See here in 37 and 38. Krishna tells Arjuna to fight. So he tells him, get up with determination and fight. Then in 38 again, he's saying, fight for the sake of fighting. So 37 and 38, we see Krishna is telling Arjuna to fight. But later on, towards the end of the chapter, when Krishna is talking about the characteristics of a sthita pragya, that time he's talking about renunciation, he's talking about peace. Krishna uses the word peace, shanti, he says. And here also, in 70, he talks about peace, and 71, he's talking about peace. And then he spoke about how a sthita pragya withdraws his senses, controls his senses, and he talks about renunciation in this final section. So Arjuna is confused. He is thinking that if Krishna is talking about peace, then why is he telling me to fight? And if I'm going to fight the war, then how can there be peace? So in Arjuna's mind, these are two different things, two separate concepts. And in the beginning of 3rd chapter, he tells Krishna that I'm confused by your equivocal instructions. Because these are two different things in Arjuna's mind. Actually, Krishna has already answered Arjuna's question in this very chapter itself. Because you see here in 39, this verse 39 is called as a transitional verse. Here Krishna says that I have spoken to you so far. I have given you knowledge through analytical study, which is Sankhya Yoga. And now he says, I will explain in terms of working without fruitive results. So working without fruitive results. That is what Krishna talks as Buddhi Yoga. He uses the word Buddhi. So Buddhi Yoga is working without fruitive results. This is actually Krishna's answer to Arjuna's confusion. But Arjuna has missed this point. In 49, again, here 49. In 49, Krishna uses the word avaram karma. Avaram karma means abominable activities. So Krishna says that keep all these abominable activities far away from you. Durena, keep all these far away from you by Buddhi Yoga. But the definition of avaram karma is different for Arjuna and it's different for Krishna. According to Krishna, avaram karma or abominable activities are those activities which are done when one expects the fruit of the result. But according to what Arjuna is thinking right now, he is thinking that avaram karma or abominable or sinful activity is fighting the war and killing all these great personalities. So therefore, because this definition in Arjuna's mind is different from Krishna's definition, Arjuna is confused. And he begins chapter 3 with this question. But tell me decisively, tell me for sure what I should do, because I'm confused by your equivocal instructions, he says. The trend in the Bhagavad Gita is this, that either the chapter will end by Arjuna asking a question and then Krishna answers the question in the next chapter, or the chapter begins by Arjuna's questions and Krishna will answer the question. So this is usually the trend in the Bhagavad Gita. Who can read today?
I can.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the Bhagavad Gita chapter 3 is titled Karma Yoga and it has a total of 43 verses. But before we begin the chapter, we need to understand the importance of this chapter. Why do we read, recite, learn this particular chapter? What are the benefits of learning or reciting this particular chapter? So the Gita Mahatmya is a conversation between Lord Shiva and Goddess Parvati. Lord Shiva is glorifying Bhagavad Gita to her. And in each chapter, because Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters, the Gita Mahatmya also has 18 chapters. So every chapter of the Gita Mahatmya is glorifying the corresponding chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And this Gita Mahatmya is coming from the Padma Purana. And the Padma Purana is a conversation between Lord Vishnu and Goddess Lakshmi. So Lord Shiva is repeating the same conversation that happened between Lord Vishnu and Goddess Lakshmi. So the story goes that there was a Brahmana called Jada in a place called Janasthan. And he was born in a Brahmin family, but he gave up all Brahmanical activities. And he led a very, very sinful life. He was into gambling, hunting, drinking, and also he used to visit prostitutes. One day he goes north on a business trip and he made good money. He earned a lot of profit in that trip. And then he decided that he wants to now return to his hometown. What is the name of his hometown? Anybody remembers?
Janasthan.
Janasthan. Very nice. So after traveling a long distance, he finds himself in a deserted place. It is nighttime, the sun has already set, and he's very tired. So he decides that he wants to take rest under a tree. So while he's resting there, it's also isolated. So there are some robbers. The robbers come, they attack him, they rob him of his wealth, and they also kill him. They also murder him. Now, Jada has a son who is very religious. He is the stark contrast of his father. He is very, very religious. He follows all the Brahmanical activities. And he is now concerned that why is it that his father has not returned? So many days have passed. He has not yet come back. So he decides to go and inquire why his father has not returned. So he goes, and for many, many days, he inquires in different places. He's not able to find his father. Eventually, he comes across someone who informs him that this is what has happened. So he tells him what exactly happened, how his father was murdered and robbed, etc. So now the son wants that his father is benefited. Actually, Jada, after he was murdered, when death occurred, because he led a very, very sinful life, he got the body of a ghost. So body of a ghost means he is not yet departed to the next destination. No, he still is in the ghost body. So being in a ghost body is a lot of suffering. We discussed previously how one who's in the body of a ghost, he feels hungry and thirsty, but because he doesn't have the gross body, he's not able to quench his hunger or thirst. So it's a very horrible situation to be in a ghost body. But then now the son wants his father to be benefited spiritually, so he decides to go to Kasi and perform the last rites for his father. He wants to offer Pindadan for his father. And after he does he's on the way to go there, and he's traveling. And on the 9th day of his journey, it so happened that he's resting under the same tree where his father was killed. It so happened, it was a coincidence. And there, when he sat under the tree, he performed his everyday worship. Because he's following Brahmanical culture, every day he worships the Lord. So he's even under the tree over there during his travel, he's worshipping the Lord, and he recites the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Now, as soon as he finishes reciting the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita under that tree, he hears a loud sound and he sees his father in front of him. Now his father was, his appearance has changed. He's very, very beautiful, very good looking. And there is a effulgence coming out of his father's body that was lighting up all the 4 directions. And he asks his father, and he inquires like, what's going on? So then the father tells him that there is no need for you to go to Kasi anymore, because the reason why you are going to Kasi has already been achieved by you reciting this 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. He tells him that because he has recited this 3rd chapter, he has now been delivered. And then an airplane, before the airplane comes, then the son realizes that his father has been delivered. And then the son asks the father, do you have any further instructions for me? Is there anything else that I should do? So then the father tells him that my brother is also suffering in the hellish planets. He's in the hellish condition. So please do the needful so that my brother also can be liberated. And do whatever you can to liberate all our other ancestors as well. So then the son tells him that if that is the case, then I will try and liberate all the living entities who are suffering in the hellish planets. Not only the brother, not only the relatives, not only their ancestors, but everyone else who's in the hellish planets. He has that desire. So then the father gives him the blessing. He says, okay, so be it. And then the father descends on the celestial airplane and he goes to his highest destination. Then the son comes to his house and he starts reciting the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita every single day, day in and day out. Every day he is reciting the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita with the desire that all those who are suffering in the hellish planets, they should all be liberated. And sure enough, Lord Vishnu sends the Vishnu Dutas to Yamaraj. And the Vishnu Dutas tell Yamaraj that I have come with this message of Lord Vishnu that release all those souls who are suffering in the hellish planets. So Yamaraj follows the instruction and he releases. As he goes on reciting, more and more souls are being released from the hellish planets, up till the point when everyone is released from the hellish planets. And then Yamaraj goes to pay a visit to Lord Vishnu. And Yamaraj tells Lord Vishnu, do you have any further instructions for me? I have followed your instruction. Everybody is released from the hellish condition. Do you have any further instructions for me? So that time Lord Vishnu says that you know what is your service and you please go back and continue in your service. So the service of Yamaraj is that he punishes the conditioned souls who have been misbehaving. No, that is his service. So Yamaraj says, okay, he goes back and to follow the instructions of Lord Vishnu. Meanwhile, a celestial airplane also descends after some years and even takes the son back home, back to Godhead. So what is the Falashruti of this chapter? If you have a loved one, a family member, someone in your family who has passed away, you can recite this 3rd chapter and help in the deliverance of that person. You dedicate the reciting of the chapter to that person who has departed so that the person can be released from the hellish condition of life. Of course, we do not know where our ancestors are. We do not know. But there is no harm in reciting this chapter, because if they are in hellish conditions, then they can be released. Okay.
Srinama, but I mean, should we name them?
Yes, you have to name them and dedicate. You say that I dedicate this recitation for the spiritual well-being of so and so. So you tell the name and then you recite so that they will get the benefit of your recitation.
But that means you can wipe out other people's karmas?
Oh yes, that's the potency of devotional service. The rules of the game can be overwritten. That is the potency of devotional service. That's why if we train our children in Krishna consciousness, then they can, even if see the one should not think that, okay, so I will do all nonsense and then I will tell my son to do the needful and then I will be delivered. That's not the idea that one must get. We should do it ourselves, right? We should not depend on somebody else to deliver us. We have to behave in such a way that we are delivered ourselves. So we should take the responsibility as devotees that we want to do it, and we also help others. We help people before us, we help people after us. Even the future generations can be benefited when we become devotees. See, in the story of Prahlad, when Prahlad's father Hiranyakashipu was killed by Nrsimhadev told him, okay, you ask for a blessing. And initially Prahlad said, I do not want anything, because he is very happy in his transcendental life. He does not want anything, right? But when Nrsimhadev insisted that, no, you please ask. So that time Prahlad said, I want that my father should be delivered. That time Nrsimhadev said, what? 14 generations before you and 14 generations after you, all of them will be delivered. So because of the potency of the devotional service of Prahlad, 14 generations before and after him are also delivered. So when we advance spiritually, the generation before us and the generation after us, they will also be liberated. A pure devotee can liberate up to 100 generations. The Shastra says this. Okay, a pure devotee can liberate up to 100 generations. So powerful devotional services. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so chapter 3 is divided into 7 sections. The first section, Arjuna is confused. What should I do? Renunciation or work? Because in his mind, they are 2 separate things. If I work, then how can I be renounced? And if I'm renounced, then how can I work? So he thinks that these are opposite things. So therefore, this chapter begins with him asking these questions. And then Krishna goes on to explain. Already, actually, Krishna has explained. But now he explains in greater detail. All that Krishna had to say in the Bhagavad Gita finishes in the first 2 chapters itself. But it is extended because Arjuna asks further questions. Now, always we must remember throughout the Bhagavad Gita, in all the 18 chapters, we must always remember that actually Arjuna is a pure soul. He's a pure liberated soul. He is not a conditioned soul. So he already knows the absolute truth, but he asks these questions for the sake of clearing up our confusion, for our sake, because we may get confused like this. So therefore, for benefiting us, Arjuna asked these questions on our behalf. It's not that Arjuna has these doubts. Okay, so we must always remember that Arjuna is a pure liberated soul and he is on the absolute platform. It's not that he lacks any knowledge. Okay, so we'll see these sections as we proceed. Section 1, renunciation or work. Arjuna asks if it is better to be situated in knowledge or to work, as if two were opposed to each other. Let's hear the shloka.
Atha tritiyoऽധ്यायः Arjuna uvacha Dhyayasi chet karmanaste Mata buddhirjanardana Tat kim karmani ghore mam Niyojayasi keshava.
Ravina, we cannot hear you.
Okay. Arjuna said, O Janardana, O Kesava, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare? If you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work.
So Arjuna is saying, oh Janardana, oh Keshava, why are you wanting me to engage in this ghastly warfare? Why are you telling me to fight this ghastly warfare? See, karmani ghore mam. Ghore means ghor karma. Karmani means work. So why are you telling me, mam means me, so why are you telling me to engage in this ghastly warfare when you are talking about intelligence is better than fruitive work? So here is the confusion. Intelligence, see, Krishna used the word buddhi yoga, and he said buddhi yoga means you fight without expecting anything in return. No, don't be attached to the fruits of the work. But Arjuna is thinking that they are two different things. Fighting the war is one thing, and intelligence means to be renounced, to control the senses, and shanti, peace, as we discussed towards the end of the previous chapter. So this is the confusion in his mind. He's thinking that there are two, that Krishna is giving him contrasting instructions. Now this may happen sometimes when somebody gives us an instruction, or superior may give us an instruction, and it may appear that it is actually contrasting. It may happen also that probably somebody is giving us an advice and he's contradicting himself. It is very much possible, but we must always consider the seniority of the person. Now, if the instructions are coming from a very, very superior person who is very knowledgeable, who is very wise, then probably the confusion is because I have not understood it. It's not because the person is giving me contradictory instructions. So therefore, we must always consider, whenever we feel that the instructions are contradictory, then we must consider also whom is this instruction coming from? Is it coming from a wise person, or is it just coming from a non-wise person? Okay, so we have to consider the reputation of that person also. What kind of a person is giving that instruction? Here, of course, this instruction is coming from Krishna himself. So there is no question of Krishna giving him contradictory instructions. It may appear contradictory, but it is not contradictory. So these things we have already discussed. Avaram karma, abominable activity. These things you can read offline when we share the slides in the group.
व्यामिश्रेणेव वाक्येन बुद्धिं मोहयसीव मे तदेकं पद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयोऽहमाप्नुयाम्.
My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficially for me.
So see, Arjuna is not blaming Krishna. Arjuna is not accusing Krishna. What he is saying that I am bewildered. My intelligence is bewildered. So please tell me properly which is the most beneficial for me. So Arjuna is not blaming Krishna. He is saying that my intelligence is bewildered. So this is what a good student does. When a good student is in doubt, he asks his authority, he asks the guru, he asks his teacher, and in a very respectful way. In a very, very respectful way. So this is what Arjuna is doing. So Arjuna is actually a very, very good student, and we should learn from Arjuna how we can become good students of the Bhagavad Gita, how we should approach our superiors when there is confusion in our mind, how we should approach a senior authority. See, the concept that confused Arjuna, should I work or should I be renounced? As we have previously discussed, no? But Krishna gives an integrated solution. What is that integrated solution? He brings both together. He says, Krishna's solution is work with renunciation. Do both, work with renunciation. So when we do the work without thinking about the profit and the loss, then it is working with renunciation, because we are not attached to the results. Then we can be peace. Then we can be at peace mentally. See, Krishna spoke about Shanti, peace, in the last, we saw those two verses towards the end of chapter 2, where Krishna is talking about peace. So externally, he's telling Arjuna, you fight, but internally you can be at peace. How can he be internally at peace when externally he is fighting? Is when he's internally, he's not going to be worried about the profit and the loss or the results that is going to come out of his fighting. Then he can be peaceful internally. And the same thing also applies to us. We do our duties. We do our work externally, but internally we should not be attached to the results. When we are not attached to results, then we are not constantly meditating on, will I get positive result or will I get negative results? That anxiety we will not go through if we are not attached to the results. Then we can be at peace internally. So Krishna is saying externally you fight the war, internally you be at peace by not thinking about the results of your action. This is Krishna's integrated solution, but it's not, the concept is not clear to Arjuna yet. So Krishna is going to elaborate on it further.
श्रीभगवानुवाच लोकेऽस्मिन् विविधा निष्ठा पुरा प्रोक्ता मया नघ ज्ञानयोगेन साङ्ख्यानां कर्मयोगेन योगिनाम्.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjun, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by empirical, philosophical speculations, and others by devotional service.
So now Krishna begins to answer Arjuna's question. So he's saying that I have already explained. Now, where has Krishna already explained? In the previous chapter, we saw that transitional verse number 39, where Krishna said that so far I have explained to you through analytical study. Now I will talk to you Buddhi Yoga. He says, so far I have spoken to you Sankhya Yoga, which is the difference between the body and the soul. And now I will teach you about Buddhi Yoga, how you integrate jnana with karma, bring the two together. Now Krishna is saying, I've already explained this, but now he's going to explain it again. So again, he's saying that there are two classes of men. Who are they? One is those who understand knowledge by empirical philosophical speculation, others by devotional service, Sankhya Yoga and Buddhi Yoga. So these are the two classes of men. This was a transitional verse. 39 is called as a transitional verse. Buddhi Yoga is nothing but devotional service, Bhakti Yoga. Now, Srila Prabhupada, very, very important, this section. Srila Prabhupada explains that both the yogas are interdependent. Now, what does this mean? when jnana increases, it should ideally lead to bhakti. So when one has this knowledge that one is not the body, one is spirit soul, and that the spirit soul is eternally the servant of Krishna. When we realize that we are eternally the servants of the Lord, then automatically what should follow? Devotional service should follow. So devotional service means to serve the Lord. Because what does a servant do? A servant has to serve. So when we realize that we are servants of the Lord, then we have to serve. And when we serve the Lord, that is devotional service, and devotional service is bhakti. Because devotion means to serve. You cannot have devotion without service. The two things have to exist. You cannot have bhakti without seva. If a mother tells that, oh, I love my child very much, but if the mother is not going to serve the child, not going to take care of the child, not going to engage in all those services that is required to take care of the child, then where is the love? Love means service. When you love your child, you are ready to serve your child without expecting anything in return. The mother is not saying that you have to pay me a salary, no, to take care of you. No, the mother does it out of selfless love. So where there is love, there has to be service. So when jnana increases, it should ideally lead to bhakti. Otherwise, one will practice jnana yoga for millions of years with no avail. What is the use of having that knowledge if we are not putting that knowledge into practice? What is the use of jnana without vijnana? What is the use of knowledge without application of that knowledge? I may study to become a doctor, but if I don't practice, then what is the use of that knowledge? So jnana and vijnana both are important. Jnana should ideally lead to bhakti. Now, when bhakti increases, jnana increases automatically. When we engage in devotional service, then we get realizations. The Lord shows us how this process actually works. Okay, anybody who's following bhakti yoga, they will see how the Lord reciprocates. Anyone can who's following bhakti yoga can tell you this. I will give you one example from my own personal life. Okay, when my daughter was very young, I don't remember how old was she, I think 2 or 3 years old, she had vomiting and diarrhea. I had taken her to the doctor. She had taken the medicines. I had done all kinds of home remedies. Everything I tried, but it would just not stop. And of course, I was very concerned. And then suddenly this devotee, she calls me. This devotee had come to my house sometime back for a home program, and she had brought some laddus. They were very delicious. So at that time, several months before, I had told her that, you please teach me how to make these laddus. So she said, if I'm on this side, anytime I'm in this area, I will call you and then I will come to your house and show you how to make. I said, okay, fine. And it so happened that after so many months, she called me and she said, I'm here near your house and shall I come? So I said, yes, please do come. And she came to my house and she was making the laddus. And because my daughter was not well at that time, she was clinging on to me, because she's sick. So then the devotee realized that my daughter is not well. And then she asked me what happened. And I told her, this is the case. I've given her all medicines, everything. So she said, you have any kind of herbs. So I said, yeah, I have these tea bags with, here we get herbal teas like mint or lemon ginger. These things you get in tea bags. So you just put it in the water and you can drink. So I said, yeah, I have these. So she said, give it to me. And I was thinking, what is that? What is some mint leaves in water? How is it going to help my daughter? I have done everything. I've given her the doctor's medicine, everything I've tried. How is that going to help? So I didn't have much faith. So she said, no, you give it to me. And I said, okay, I gave it to her. So she prepared. She just put hot water. She put those mint leaves in the hot water and she offered it to the Lord on my altar. At that time, I was not offering everything because I was still eating onion and garlic at that point of time. I had not given it up and I was not initiated. So I was observing her. She put that, she offered that to the Lord and she offered it with so much faith. She prayed, she said her prayers and she said the prayers to offer it. And she did it with so much devotion and I was observing her. And then she said, now you give this to your daughter. So I said, okay, I didn't have much faith. My daughter hardly took half a teaspoon of that water. And after that, she didn't vomit. She didn't have any diarrhea. She was cured. So the Lord shows you, okay, the Lord reciprocates to you. So as we engage in bhakti, see, she offered it to the Lord with so much devotion, and that actually worked. The Lord put his potency in that medicine. So as we engage in devotional practices, the Lord will reciprocate. So jnana will increase automatically when bhakti increases. But now we have to understand that bhakti is independent of jnana and karma also. Bhakti does not depend on jnana. It's not that we have to have the knowledge, only then we can engage in devotional service. It's not that actually bhakti is sarvatra sarvada. Bhakti is completely independent. Bhakti does not depend on any factor. It does not depend on any factor. Anybody, anywhere, anytime, at any place can do bhakti. Whether one is a child or an adult, whether one is educated, whether one is an illiterate, poor, rich, Indian, American, there is no, bhakti does not depend on any factor. Bhakti is completely independent. Okay. Anybody can engage in bhakti. Say in verse 7, Krishna says, after many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. So after many births and deaths, one who is in knowledge surrenders unto me. So jnana leads to bhakti. Jnana will lead to one to surrender to the Lord. The means of jnana and yoga and other allied disciplines are not independent in delivering a performer. Such activities help one to reach the stage of bhakti yoga after many, many years. So jnana and any other discipline, any other yoga system will help one to deliver. They help one to reach, but bhakti is completely independent. But jnana and yoga are not independent. Okay, you cannot have jnana and it's that it cannot be that one has one is following a discipline or one is following a yoga system or jnana or any other yoga system without bhakti. It will automatically lead to bhakti. It's natural that it will lead to bhakti. The ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness. So no matter what yoga system one is following, bhakti, jnana yoga, karma yoga, dhyana yoga, ashtanga yoga, whatever yoga system you may be following, ultimately the goal is one comes at the end to Krishna consciousness. So it doesn't matter what path one is following. Ultimately, one has to come to Krishna consciousness, because that's how the Vedas also end. No? We discussed that there are 4 subject matters of the Vedas. The Vedas have a progression. It starts with Karma Kanda and it ends with Bhakti Yoga. It ends with pure devotional service. So ultimately, it will lead to Bhakti. The Lord does not want his sons, the living entities, to suffer the threefold miseries of his life. He desires that all of them come to him and live with him. But going back to God, it means that one must purify himself from material infection. So sometimes people ask this question, why is the Lord making us suffer if he wants us back? See, the Lord he's a loving father. The loving father wants his sons back. But then if we have to travel to some other place, we have to have the proper documents, isn't it? If we want to travel to another country, we have to have our passport, we have to have the visa. Only then we can enter another country. So the same applies. If we have to go to the spiritual world, then we have to have purity. There is no place for even a tiny tinge of impurity in the spiritual world. In the spiritual world, everything is 100% pure. So therefore, we must have that purity. Only then we can enter the spiritual world. So when work is performed to satisfy the Lord, the performer becomes gradually purified from material affection. We do the work, but with the consciousness that we want to please the Lord. Then that work is karma free. Then we can be purified from the material affection. This purification means attainment of spiritual knowledge. Therefore, knowledge is dependent on karma or work done on behalf of the Lord. Other knowledge, being devoid of bhakti yoga or satisfaction of the Lord, cannot lead one back to the kingdom of God. So if we have jnana but we don't have bhakti, then we cannot go back home back to Godhead, which means one cannot attain even salvation. Karma over-coated with devotional service is called karma yoga. Because we bring the word yoga there, the word yoga means union. So we want to be with the Lord. So when you do your work with the consciousness that I want to be with the Lord, I want to please the Lord, then it is called karma yoga. Similarly, empirical knowledge over-coated with devotional services, jnana yoga. When you bring knowledge and devotional service together, you call it jnana yoga. But pure bhakti yoga is independent of karma and jnana, because it alone can not only endow one with liberation from conditional life, but also award one the transcendental loving devotional service of the Lord. So if we have bhakti, even if we don't have knowledge, but we have bhakti, then bhakti alone is sufficient for us to take us back home, back to Godhead. Not only jnana, but any other aspect. If we have only bhakti, we don't require anything else to go back home, back to Godhead. Fruitive activities and speculative knowledge cannot independently liberate anyone. So if you have only jnana or you have only fruitive activities, that I'm doing my duty and I'm still expecting the fruit. If we have that, okay. Sometimes people say, no, Krishna says, karm karo, karm karo. So we say, okay, we have to do our work. We do have to work. But if we only do our work, but there is no consciousness that I want to do the work to please the Lord, then that is not going to liberate us. But devotional service, independent of karma and jnana, is so potent that one who has fixed his mind at the lotus feet of Krishna is guaranteed not to meet the Yamadutas, the order carriers of Yamaraj. So if we even begin the Bhakti Yoga process, then we will be guaranteed that we don't have to meet the Yamadutas. Who likes to see the face of Yamaraj? Anybody wants to see the face of Yamaraj? At least I don't want to see the face of Yamaraj. Okay. That's why we follow devotional practices. Therefore, we stay away from sinful activities. Therefore, we have Tulsi neck beads around our neck. Tulsi neck beads around our neck is an indication to the Yamadutas that this person is a devotee. So Yamaraj has instructed the Yamadutas, Yamaraj has instructed his servants never to go close to anyone who is a devotee of the Lord. In that pastime of Ajamila, which we have seen in the previous classes, when the Vishnu Dutas tell the Yamadutas that Ajamila has chanted the name of the Lord at the time of death, therefore you do not have the right to take this soul, then the Yamadutas are confused because they have not seen. The Yamadutas have never seen the Vishnu Dutas before. Why? Because when the Yamadutas come to take the soul, the Vishnu Dutas don't come. And when Vishnu Dutas come to take the devotee souls, the Yamadutas do not come, isn't it? So this was the first time that both of them have come to take the same soul of Ajamila. So therefore, then now the Yamadutas are confused and they go to Yamaraj and they ask Yamaraj, what's going on? Who are they? Please tell us. So then there is a conversation between Yamaraj and the Yamadutas that is there in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto. You can read if you like. Very nice conversation. So that time Yamaraj tells Yamadutas that don't go close to anyone who's a devotee of the Lord. Don't go close to anyone who has even once chanted the holy name. So when we wear tulsi neck beads, when we decorate our body with tilak, it's a sign that we are devotees. So the Yamadutas will not come close to you. Therefore, it's very crucial that at least we have the tulsi neck beads around our neck when we die at the time of death. If we know of someone who's breathing his last, then we recommend that please have the tulsi neck beads around your neck, because tulsi is very, very, very auspicious. And we don't take out the tulsi beads. We have it 24/7 because death can strike at any time. Nobody knows when death will strike. So 24/7, we have the tulsi beads around our neck and we never take it off. So here Srila Prabhupada says that religion without philosophy is sentiment, or sometimes fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. When we follow religious principles, if we know the philosophy behind it, then our faith will be strengthened. It's not going to be blind faith. See, sometimes what happens, actually most of the cases, we receive instructions. See, the current generation do not want to follow the Shastric injunctions because somewhere down the line, the parents have failed to explain to the children why we follow. They just tell them, do this. But why we do this if the children are, they say, no, you just do this because my mother used to do it, or because my grandmother used to do it, so you just do it. So when we try to follow religion without philosophy, then the faith is not so strong. So over a period of time, then we lose the faith because we don't know the reason why. But when we tell the children why we follow certain religious principles, then the faith will be strengthened of our children and also of ourselves. So therefore, we have to have philosophy along with religion. So therefore, Prabhupada says religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanaticism. We should know why we have to follow. Therefore, we have all these shastras. Therefore, Krishna has taken the pain to give us this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita. He has given us this knowledge. Not that Krishna has taken the pain. I mean, Krishna never has to undergo pain, but he gave it to us, isn't it? While philosophy without religion is mental speculation. If we only have philosophy, but we are not putting into practice, then it is only mental speculation. Then it's just there in the mind, but we are not putting it into practice. So both go hand in hand. Now, see, there are two young ones here, the kitten and the baby monkey. Now, the baby monkey is holding on to the back of its mother on its own strength. Is the mother holding the baby monkey?
No.
The mother is not holding the baby monkey. The baby monkey is holding on to the mother on its own strength. And on the other side, this baby kitten is being held by the mother. The baby kitten does not have to use its own strength to cling on to the mother. Now, which of the two babies you think are more secure, more safe, and will not fall down?
Cat.
The kitten.
The kitten, right? Why? Because the mother is not going to let go of her child. But the baby monkey is very weak, very feeble, very small, and he's trying to hold on its own strength. So the own strength of this baby monkey is very, very minute compared to the strength of the mother. So there is every danger that the baby monkey is going to fall. So the same thing applies to philosophical speculation, Sankhya Yoga and Buddhi Yoga, Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness means this. Or Bhakti Yoga means this. We surrender to the Lord. So the Lord personally takes care of his devotees. He personally takes care of his devotees. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that I carry what you lack and preserve what you have. So when one surrenders to the Lord, then one, it's like, when we surrender hands up, if somebody is pointing a gun towards us, we put our hands up, which means we are surrendered, isn't it? So we surrender to the Lord. So we are not trying to achieve something on our own strength. We are completely depending on the mercy of the Lord. But the other Jnana Yoga or philosophical speculation is an indirect path where we are trying to achieve the Lord on our own strength. So therefore, there is a danger of falling down. See, Sankhya Yoga is an indirect path, whereas Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga or Buddhi Yoga, same thing, is a direct path, a process of directly connecting the level of our activity or karma for the purpose of Krishna consciousness. Whatever we do because we want to please the Lord. Sankhya Yoga dependence on personal endeavor. We saw how the monkey was trying to cling on his own strength. So dependence on personal endeavor, meant for persons who want to understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy on one's own limited capacity. Whereas in Buddhi Yoga, dependence on Krishna's mercy, a process of depending entirely on the Supreme and does not depend one's own limited capacity of sense control, purity to advance. Therefore, it is easy and better. So we are not depending on our own capacity, our own sense control, our own purity. We are only depending entirely on the Lord. And when the Lord is with you, who can defeat you? If Krishna wants to kill you, who can save you? And if Krishna wants to save you, who can kill you? Sankhya Yoga, unsure of success, may never reach the highest rung of ladder, which is to attain Krishna's mercy. But here in Buddhi Yoga, Krishna consciousness, because one is completely dependent on the mercy of the Lord, there is surety of success. There is surety of success because strength is given by mercy of Krishna and Vaishnavas Thus, one is easily relieved from bonds of action, and there is no flaw in the process of Buddhi Yoga. It's a perfect process. There is no chance of failure. There is no chance that it will not pay off. Krishna's mercy and also the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Who do you think is more merciful, Krishna or the Vaishnavas?
Vaishnavas.
The Vaishnavas are more merciful. Why?
Because they have their whole, because they believe in Krishna himself.
So they are more merciful than Krishna also.
Yes, because they know that Krishna is the one who has to decide, not them. I think so.
Okay. See, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has one condition. What is Krishna's condition? First, you surrender.
Do your duty, surrender to myself, and do
Yeah.
your duty without any expectations.
So Krishna wants you to surrender. Krishna has one condition. But when a Vaishnava gives you mercy, does the Vaishnava say, you first surrender unto me, only then I'll give you mercy?
No.
Does the Vaishnava say that?
No.
No, isn't it? So the Vaishnava is more merciful than Krishna. The devotee of the Lord is more merciful than the Lord, because the devotee of the Lord does not put in any conditions. He just wants to distribute the mercy of the Lord. See, Krishna came 5,000 years ago and he said, first you surrender unto me. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came 500 years ago, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is none other than Krishna himself, right? He is Krishna himself. He is not different from Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in a different mood. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came as a devotee of Krishna. He is Krishna, but he came in a different mood, right? He presented himself as a devotee. He showed us how a devotee should behave. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed the mercy of Krishna without any conditions. He did not say, first you surrender unto me. Krishna said, first you surrender unto me, right? So the devotee of the Lord, a Vaishnava, is more merciful than Krishna. Now we are going to revisit this yoga ladder. We saw the yoga ladder when we did chapter 2. So we saw how at the rock bottom of the yoga ladder is sinful life. Actually, it's no step at all. It's not part of your yoga ladder at all, because sinful life means you're not following any regulative principles. You're not following any religious principle. You're living a sinful life like an animal. No restrictions on sense enjoyment, right? In enjoying meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. Now, in your yoga ladder, the first step is karma kanda. Krishna spoke about karma kanda in the second chapter, where Krishna said that he told Arjuna that you fight so that you can go and enjoy in the heavenly planets. So that is regulated sense gratification. Here, there is attachment to the fruits of the work, but there is regulation. You're following the regulative principles. You're not leading a sinful life. Then above that, we saw Sakama Karma Yoga and Nishkama Karma Yoga. In Sakama Karma Yoga, they follow all the rules and regulations. And there is some devotion. Why? Because we have put the word yoga here. When you put the word yoga, yoga means union, right? So there is some desire to please the Lord. But still, they are not completely pure, and they have material desires in mind, and they are still attached to fruits of work and work itself. Then higher than that, as you perform Sakama Karma Yoga, then the next level is Nishkama Karma Yoga. Now there is no attachment to the fruits of the work, but there is still attachment to the work itself. I want to serve the Lord in a particular way. I want to serve the Lord by cooking. I don't want to serve the Lord by cleaning the bathroom, for example. So Sakama Karma Yoga, Nishkama Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is divided into these two. Then now we are going to put Jnana Yoga higher than Nishkama Karma Yoga. Jnana Yoga, a jnani is fixed in goodness and realizes that he is not this body, but an eternal soul. So he has this knowledge that he is not the body, he is spirit, soul. And because he is fixed in goodness, he may renounce his prescribed duties. Now, as we go higher in this yoga ladder, the renunciation increases. The renunciation increases. So there is more detachment as we go higher. So a person on this level is more renounced than the people on this stage of the yoga ladder. Now, if you remember chapter 2, what did Krishna speak first in the Bhagavad Gita? Did he speak Jnana, Karma, or Karma Kanda first? What did he speak first?
He spoke about Karma Kanda.
First, he spoke about Karma Kanda. Okay, anybody else? First, initially, when he started speaking to Arjuna. What is the first lesson of spiritual life?
Jnana Yoga.
Jnana Yoga. The first lesson of spiritual life is you are not the body, you are spirit soul. So first Krishna told Arjuna the difference between the bodies. First he taught him about the soul. First he told him, who are you? What is your identification? You are the spirit soul. The first lesson of spiritual life is you are not the body, you are spirit soul. So first Krishna spoke Jnana Yoga to Krishna. After that, what did Krishna speak? Then in what sequence did Krishna speak in chapter 2?
Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga. Anybody else wants to try?
Karma Kanda.
Karma Kanda. Yes, Karma Kanda. Very nice. So then Krishna told Arjuna that you fight this war because, remember Arjuna's one reason was enjoyment. How I will not be able to enjoy. So that time Krishna said that, okay, if your concern is enjoyment, then you fight the war. Because if you lose, you will go to heaven and you will enjoy in heaven. And if you win, you will enjoy the kingdom on earth. So then Krishna spoke Karma. After Jnana Yoga, he spoke Karma Kanda. And then he spoke Karma Yoga. Then he brought Jnana and Karma together, right? And he said Karma Yoga, you work, but without being attached to the fruits. So Krishna has spoken Jnana, then Karma Kanda, then Karma Yoga. He is not spoken in sequence of the yoga ladder. Why do you think so? In what sequence is Krishna speaking?
He is speaking from the upper level.
So see, first he spoke this, then he spoke this, and then he spoke this. So it's 1, 2, and 3. So if he's going from top to bottom also, it's not in sequence. And bottom to top also, he's not speaking in sequence. So what is the sequence that Krishna is following? Oh, today we really had to rack our brains, huh? Who can say 100 points for this question?
I don't know, but could it be the fact that like how we as human beings learn, like how we realize the knowledge based on our mistakes and our karma? Could it be that?
Okay, so you're getting kind of close. So who's representing us there on the battlefield? Arjuna. So Arjuna's doubts were what? What were Arjuna's doubts? What were the sequence of Arjuna's doubts? First problem was, his first reason not to fight was?
They're my relatives. They're my family.
Yeah, he's feeling compassion, isn't it? So therefore, to defeat that compassion argument, Krishna spoke Jnana. That, your compassion is for the body, your compassion is not for the soul. So there, Krishna spoke about the difference between the knowledge and the soul. Then, after compassion, what was Arjuna's next argument?
Karma Kanda.
No. What is Arjuna's second reason not to fight the war?
That if I kill all of them, what's the use? I'll be so sinful. How can I enjoy this kingdom?
Enjoy. Yes. How can I enjoy, right? Enjoyment reason. So enjoyment reason Krishna defeated by speaking Karma Kanda, because either way you can enjoy. You die or you live, you lose or you win. Anyway, you can enjoy either in heaven or on earth. So then Krishna spoke Karma Kanda, and then Krishna defeated the third argument of Arjuna, which was? What was Arjuna's third reason not to fight?
Yeah.
Is it Nishkam Karma Yoga?
No. Arjuna's third reason not to fight was Nishkam Karma Yoga is the solution. But what was the reason Arjuna had for not fighting? The third reason. Sinful activities. Okay, Arjuna was afraid that he will have to take the sinful reactions of killing all these great personalities like Bhishma, Dronacharya, killing his guru, and all those aparadhas. Okay, so Arjuna's third reason not to fight was he does not want to take the sinful reaction. So therefore, then Krishna gave the solution that you will not take the sinful reaction if you fight with the men, if you fight by bringing jnana and karma together. You do the karma of fighting with the knowledge that you are not this body, you are spirit soul. So if you are the spirit soul, you are a servant of the Lord. And if you are a servant of the Lord, you only execute the instruction of the Lord. So then you don't take any reaction because you're just executing the order of the Lord. Just like how a person in the army, when he shoots at if there is cross-border firing and the superior tells the soldier, shoot. So he shoots and he kills, but he is not taken to the court of law. In fact, he is rewarded, right? Because he has just executed the instruction of his superior. So you don't take the sinful reaction if you simply execute the instruction of the Lord. Therefore, there is no sin. So see, Krishna has spoken the sequence of Arjuna's confusion. He's spoken in the sequence of Arjuna's reasons not to fight. He's not taken the sequence of the yoga ladder, neither up nor down. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, 3.4.
न कर्मणामनारम्भाम् नैष्कर्म्यं पुरुषोऽश्नुते न च सन्न्यसनादेव सिद्धिं समधिगच्छति.
Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection.
So one may think that, okay, if I'm going to take the karma, if I act, then I will take some karma. Something I will get the reaction. Always an action has a reaction. So one may think that as long as there's a reaction, I'm going to stay in this material world, either good or bad, isn't it? So therefore, one may think that, okay, because if I engage in any action, there is going to be a reaction. So what is the solution? For there to be no reaction, the solution is there should be no action. If there is no action, there is going to be no reaction. One may think like that. But Krishna is saying, not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction. So if you do not work, that doesn't mean that you will get freedom from reaction. Because something or the other we will do. Even by just breathing, we are killing living entities. Just by breathing, right? So we have to engage in some activity or the other. So inaction is not an option at all, Krishna is saying. The renounced order of life. So this is sannyas. Renounced order of life is sannyas. The renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified by the discharge of the prescribed form of duties which are laid down just to purify the hearts of materialistic men. So each of us have prescribed duties. Yes, every man, every husband, every woman, every wife, every student, every child, every worker, every brahmana, every kshatriya, every vaishya, every shudra, every grihastha, every sannyas, everyone has prescribed duties to perform, right? So when we do our prescribed duties, then it leads to purification. And one can take sannyas only when we have been purified. And how we will be purified? When we discharge our prescribed duties. Okay. Now, without purification, one cannot attain success by abruptly adopting the fourth order of life, sannyas. So without doing our duties, if we take sannyas or we take premature sannyas or we take sannyas when our mind is not yet purified, then we are going to cause disturbance to the others. and also disturbance to ourselves. We will be miserable and we will also be causing disturbance in the society. Why? Because the heart is not yet purified. Externally, we have taken sannyas. Externally, we have renounced the world. We have changed our clothes, but the mentality has not yet changed. So that will not work. Let's see what Krishna says further.
न हि कश्चित् क्षणमपि जातु तिष्ठत्य कर्मकृत् कार्यते ह्यवशः कर्म सर्वः प्रकृतिजैर्गुणैः.
Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of material natures. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment.
So Krishna is saying that we are all forced to act according to our nature. Each of us has a certain nature, isn't it? Brahmanas have a certain nature. The Brahmanas are more tolerant, whereas Kshatriyas have another nature. The Kshatriyas are more in the mode of passion, right? Brahmanas are more in the mode of goodness. So each one of us has a certain nature, and we are forced to act according to the nature we have acquired. So therefore, Krishna is saying no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So a karma or no karma is not possible. It's impossible. That's not an option at all, Krishna is saying. You cannot not do anything. So then what? If as long as we are acting, there is going to be a reaction. As long as there is karma, there is going to be a reaction. And as long as there's a reaction, we are going to stay in the material world. So how are we going to solve this? What is the solution?
Doing karma and
What's that?
I'm sorry. I thought you were asking a question.
Yeah. Please go on. No, Krishna will answer it later. So I just let that thought to remain. But you can say.
I was going to say, whatever you do, you offer it to Krishna, not wanting anything in return, like for it, like expecting anything for your karma.
Exactly, yes. So we will not get a reaction when we do it for the pleasure of the Lord, when we do it only to execute the instructions of the Lord. Then there is no reaction. Just as how the soldier kills upon receiving the instruction of superior. So he's just executing the order. So therefore, we don't take any reaction. Very nice, Shivani. Thank you.
इन्द्रियाणि संयम्य य आस्ते मनसा स्मरन् इन्द्रियार्थान् विमूढात्मा मिथ्याचारः स उच्यते.
Lavina, we cannot hear you.
Sorry. One who restrains the sense of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender.
So Krishna is saying that one who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects. That's what we discussed. See, like this. Now, externally, he has taken renunciation, but his mind is still dwelling on wine, women, and wealth. Internally, mentally, he is still thinking about sense engagement. So this is what Krishna is saying. One who restrains the senses of action, but mind is still dwelling on sense objects. What do you call such a person? Krishna is saying that person is a pretender. Krishna is using the word mithyachara. So he is a pretender. He is a cheater. He is cheating because externally he is saying that he is renounced, but his mind is not yet purified. The purification has not yet happened in the mind. So therefore, it is not recommended to take renunciation or to take sannyas until one has gone through the purificatory process. If mentally you are not purified, do not take sannyas because that creates a disturbance in the society that makes people lose faith in spirituality. We have so many mithyacharis nowadays. So many of them are existing. And because of them, people are losing faith in spirituality. People think that anybody who is spiritual is a cheater, is only after money. They just want money. So this is because people have taken premature renunciation without getting the mind purified. So what happens? Externally, they take renunciation. They take sannyas. But because the mind is not yet purified, then they go back to their old habits. They go back to their old habits. And then people say, oh, but this person is a sage, he's a sannyasi, he's in the renounced order, and how can he be engaging in such activities, right? So people lose faith in spirituality. This is Krishna is saying is not recommended. Spiritual advancement comes not just by the change of activity, but by the change of mentality. Mentality should change. See, Mithyacharis, coming back to this, Mithya, very interestingly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are these 5 kinds of Mithyacharis or show bottle spiritualists. Show bottle spiritualists means they are only showing that they are spiritual, but actually they are not spiritual. Okay, Mithyacharis. So there are actually 5 kinds of them in the Srimad Bhagavatam. One is Vidharma, irreligious principles as religion. So they preach irreligious principles and they say that this is religion. So preaching adharma and calling it dharma, that is Vidharma. Then paradharma, religious principles introduced by others. Somebody else has introduced a religious principle, and then one is propagating that, this person, what he preached, that is actual religion. So propagating a religion that is propounded by somebody else, paradharma. Then we have upadharma. What's upadharma? A new type of religion created by one who is falsely proud and who opposes the principles of the Vedas. Self-certified gods. One will say, oh, I am an avatar of so-and-so. I am so-and-so. I am Lord Shiva. I am Krishna. I am Vishnu. I am Ganesh. I am this. I am that. So self-certified gods. That is upadharma. And then bringing a new type of religion according to what suits you. Because one wants to have certain followers, one wants to receive donations, then he says that I am so-and-so God. Just by sometimes they just do some magic tricks. And they say that, I have this power, I have this potency, I can do these tricks. So people also, innocent people, they are carried away and they start believing that such a person is God. Now, there are so many people who say that they are the Kalki avatar. But we know from the Srimad Bhagavatam that when does the Kalki avatar appear? When does the Kalki avatar appear?
End of the Kali Yuga.
End of Kali Yuga. And what is the duration of Kali Yuga?
32,000 years.
How many?
432,000 years.
432,000 years. And how many years we have crossed?
5,000.
5,000 years only, isn't it? Out of 4,32,000 years, we have crossed only 5,000 years. So Kalki avatar comes at the end of Kali Yuga. So we have a lot of time still for this cycle to end. But already there are so many people who are claiming that they are the Kalki avatar. So this is what happens, self-certified gods. Then Chala Dharma, interpretation by one's jugglery of words. So they will use the same Shastra, but they are giving their own interpretation of the Shastra by jugglery of words. So they use very attractive words and they say the meaning of this is actually this. When Krishna says this in the Bhagavad Gita, what he means to say is actually something else. So just by using very attractive words, jugglery of words, then they will twist the meaning of the Shastra and they will present it. So that is Chala Dharma, interpretation by one's jugglery of words. This is also very, very common now. Already we see there are many speakers, they speak very attractively, but if you actually analyze what they are speaking, then you will realize that many a times they will contradict what they are saying, and what they are saying is not what is written in the Shastra, but they will say it so with so much of conviction, and they say it so attractively that people with less knowledge, they go for it, they believe him, they trust the person. Okay, so interpretation by one's jugglery of words. Then abhasa, a pretentious religious system manufactured by one who willfully neglects the prescribed duties, a dim reflection of false similarity. So it's a dim reflection. See, prescribed duties means, as we discussed now, everyone has prescribed duties. A Brahmana has a certain duty. Brahmana has to educate, right? Kshatriya is an administrator. He has to protect. Vaishyas are the business class. They get the goods moving in the in the society. And then the Shudras are the worker class. They engage in the services so that the work is done for the others. So everyone has his prescribed duties. So Abhasa means they say that it's okay if you don't do your prescribed duty. It's okay if a Brahma, for example, one who's a Mithyachari under Abhasa, he may set up a temple and he may have some so-called sannyasis in the temple. And he's telling the sannyasis, it's okay, you can eat meat. Sometimes they say, no, even Lord Ram ate meat. They come up with this argument. So it's okay, you can eat meat. So they are sannyasis. Now, sannyasis have certain prescribed duties. So, but as sannyasis, he's saying it's okay, you can engage in meat eating. So that is abhasa. You neglect the prescribed duties and you bring up a pretentious religious system. So that is abhasa. So this is what Krishna is calling as mithyachar. Mithyachar. Externally, you are renounced. You show that you're renounced. Your clothes are that of a renounced person, but the mentality has not changed. Mentally, the purification has not yet happened. When Krishna was alive itself, this thing happened. Can you identify who's on the screen?
Krishna?
Krishna and
Balram?
Balram. Anybody else wants to try?
I can't remember Mataji the name, but I think it was a cousin brother of Krishna who was a very look-alike like him.
Okay, anybody else wants to try? His name starts with a P.
Padum. Oh.
No.
His name starts with a P. Paundraka. Okay, his name is Paundraka.
Right.
So when Krishna was there on the planet itself, there was this person who says that he is Krishna. So even when Krishna was personally present, there was this person who was a Mithyachari, and he said that he is the real Krishna. And he's telling Krishna that your Sudarshan Chakra is fake, your Sudarshan Chakra is false, and give it up. Okay, so this happened even during Krishna's time. So in Kali Yuga, it's going to be even more, of course. So Paundraka, the false Vasudev, you can see the story in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter number 66. You can read this if you like to read. It's there on your Vedabase. Go to your vedabase.io, click on Srimad Bhagavatam, canto 10, chapter number 66. So Paundraka told Krishna, you are false, you are fake Krishna, give up your Sudarshan Chakra. The Sudarshan Chakra I have is the original. So Krishna said, okay, I will let go of my Sudarshan Chakra, I will give it up. But he gave it up on Paundraka and he finished him with the Sudarshan Chakra. Okay. There is a story of King Prithu in the Srimad Bhagavatam as well. Now King Prithu was doing 1,000 horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yagya, and he was on his last horse sacrifice. At that time, Indra did not want him to finish doing all these horse sacrifices. So he wanted to create a disturbance in the Yagya. So that time, what did Indra do? He dressed up like a sannyasi. See, he's dressed up in orange clothes. He dressed up in orange clothes and he posed as a sannyasi and he stole the horse. Because without the horse, you cannot do the yagya. So he wanted to prevent it like that. So at that time, see here. Let me read this better. When Prithu Maharaj was performing the last horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yagya, King Indra, invisible to everyone, stole the horse intended for sacrifice. He did this because of his great envy of King Prithu. When King Indra was taking away the horse, he dressed himself to appear as a liberated person. So when he took away the horse, he dressed himself to appear as a liberated person. Actually, this dress was a form of cheating, for it falsely created an impression of religion. When Indra went into outer space in this way, the great sage Atri saw him and understood the whole situation. When the son of King Prithu was informed by Atri of King Indra's trick, he immediately became very angry and followed Indra to kill him. So the son of King Prithu wanted to kill Indra. calling, wait. King Indra was fraudulently dressed as a sannyasi, having knotted his hair on his head and smeared ashes all over his body. Upon seeing such a dress, the son of King Prithu considered Indra a religious man and a pious sannyasi. Therefore, he did not release his arrows. So the son of King Prithu was aware that this is Indra, this is not a sannyasi. Still, because he is dressed as a sannyasi, he gave respect to that dress and he did not release his arrows towards Indra. So the dress itself, when we see somebody dressed as a devotee, then immediately by default people want to respect him. But not everybody who is dressed in saffron, not everybody who has tilak on the head, not everybody who is dressed like a devotee is actually a devotee. We should be very, very careful. Since that time, certain men with a poor fund of knowledge have adopted the dress of a false sannyasi. It was King Indra who introduced this. So the whole thing of dressing up as a false sannyasi was actually introduced by King Indra. The Srimad Bhagavatam gives us this information. This is again from Canto 4, chapter number 19, if you want to read in detail. So see, the point is nobody can introduce a religious system. The real religious system is described by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva dharmam parityaja mam ekam sharanam vraja. So the religious principle is to surrender to the lotus feet of the Lord. So nobody can come and manufacture a religious principle. It's already given to us by the Lord. Nobody can come and introduce his own rules and regulations. A preacher, a devotee, a sannyasi, a brahmana, or anyone who's teaching should only repeat the words of the Lord. Just deliver the message like a postman. The postman just delivers the letters. He cannot open the letter and make changes. If he does that, he's failing in his duty, isn't it? So anybody who's teaching should only repeat the words of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. You cannot manufacture your own religion. Anybody who manufactures his own religion is a mithyachari. He's a cheater. See here, translation from the Srimad Bhagavad. This verse is spoken by Yamaraj himself. Real religious principles are enacted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although fully situated in the mode of goodness, even the great rishis who occupy the topmost planets cannot ascertain the real religious principles, nor can the demigods or the leaders of the Siddha Loka, to say nothing of the asuras, ordinary human beings, Vidyadharas, or Charanas. So nobody can make any changes, not even the great sages, not even the devatas. Forget the asuras and the ordinary human beings. Neither Vidyadharas nor Charanas. So nobody can change these religious principles. This is spoken by Yamaraj to the Yamadutas in that conversation of that Ajamila pastime which we were discussing. So this is one of the things that he says. Then Sutta Goswami speaks. The supreme occupation for all humanity is that by which men can attain to loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. So any path, any religion ultimately should teach you to engage in loving devotional service to the Lord. Anything else apart from this is taught as the goal is a mithyachari, is a cheater. So why do we have such cheating religions? Why do we have these cheaters? Is it only their fault? Is it only the fault of the Mithyacharis? Or are we also to be blamed? See, let's see what Srila Prabhupada says. He says, to search out a guru is very nice. But if you want a cheap guru, or if you want to be cheated, then you will find many cheating gurus. So supply meets the demand. Because we are looking for a cheap guru, we will get a cheap guru. But if you are sincere, you will find a sincere guru. Because people want everything very cheaply, they are cheated. We ask our students to refrain from illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication. People think that this is all very difficult, a botheration. But if someone else says, you may do whatever nonsense you like, simply take my mantra, then people will like him. The point is that people want to be cheated and therefore cheaters come. No one wants to undergo any austerity. Human life is meant for austerity, but no one is prepared to undergo austerity. Consequently, cheaters come and say, no austerity. Whatever you like, you do. Simply pay me and I'll give you some mantra and you will become God in 6 months. All this is going on. If you want to be cheated like this, the cheaters will come. So if we are not sincere and we are looking for a guru who will allow us to do nonsense, then Krishna will send us a cheater guru, because we want to be cheated. We don't want to do austerity. See, when Srila Prabhupada went to the West, in America at that time, if you tell somebody to be a vegetarian, they'll think you've gone crazy, because they don't know any food other than meat. Okay. Even in that situation, Srila Prabhupada never compromised on the principles. So many, America had many philosophers, many spiritual leaders at that time. Okay. They all made adjustments, because they said, here you cannot preach no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. You cannot. Everybody will run away. Nobody is going to be willing to follow. But Prabhupada said that I have not come here to give you pleasure. Prabhupada said, I have come here to give them wisdom. So Prabhupada did not compromise on the philosophy. He maintained his purity. And of course, because wherever there is purity, there is power. So therefore, on the potency of his purity, Srila Prabhupada was able to make so many disciples all over the world. Therefore, anywhere in the world you go, you will see ISKCON. On the basis of the purity of one person, Srila Prabhupada, he brought about a spiritual revolution all over the world. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll continue in the next class if Krishna so sanctions. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you. Do we have any questions?
Thank you, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai, Gopinath ki jai. Mataji, Shri Balram Jayanti is coming. Can you please give 2-3 minutes for Shri Balram ji?
Yeah, thank you, Vrinda Gopika Mataji, for the reminder. Yeah, Balaram Purnima. Balaram is, of course, Krishna's elder brother, and Balaram is also Krishna's first expansion. So one may think, how come he's Krishna's expansion and he's also Krishna's elder brother? So that's spiritual knowledge. Okay, it's yes and no at the same time. There is no way you can answer that question. So yeah, Balaram Purnima, Balaram represents Guru Tattva. He is Guru Tattva. He is the original spiritual master, and therefore it's very, very important to celebrate his appearance day. Here in Chile, where is it in India? When is it? Anybody knows? When is Balaram Purnima in India?
On 30th August, I think.
In India, is it?
Yeah.
Abroad Wednesday, Mataji.
Yes, for us also, it's on the 30th Wednesday. So it's the appearance day of Lord Balaram. Balaram is Guru Tattva, as we discussed. Every ISKCON temple will be celebrating. So please go and participate. He is Guru Tattva, as I discussed. So the spiritual master is representing Lord Balaram. He is Krishna's first expansion in the spiritual world. Spiritual world, from Krishna first expands Balaram. Then from Balaram comes the other expansions. Okay. So please participate in the celebrations in your temple. If you cannot go
Mataji, do we
to
fast that day?
What's that?
Sorry to interrupt you. Do we fast that day, or what do we do? Do we fast like half day or full day?
I think there is fasting 12 noon. Let me check one second. Yeah, fast till noon. You have to fast till 12 noon.
Okay.
And this also marks the beginning of the second month of Chaturmasya.
Okay.
मैं बना क्या रहा हूँ किसको बनाया
What's Kyra saying?
म्यूट है कृष्णा को है
Okay. Anything else we need to discuss?
Mataji, one more question for Prabhupadaji's. After Janmashtami, it's next day is his appearance day. So do we fast till 12 noon as well?
Yes, for Prabhupada's appearance day also we fast till 12 noon.
So how do we open the Janmashtami fast?
So say Janmashtami fast is till 12 midnight. After 12 midnight, you break your fast. And then when you wake up next day morning, again you're fasting till 12 noon. After 12 noon, you break your fast.
Okay, but when we break the Janmashtami fast, do we take Ekadashi Prasad or we can just take normal?
So now that
हाँ,
depends
but
on
ऐसे
what is being followed by a local ISKCON temple. So
पहले M
ideally,
बना
at least four
फिर इसको ऊपर
four
से ऐसे
festivals like
गोलाकार
Janmashtami, Narsimha Chaturdasi, Ram Navami, and the
ऐसे
four
मुंह बनाते हैं
the Gaura
समझी
Puja. On these four festivals, it is recommended that one breaks the fast with Ekadasi Prasad. But now the GBC has given the regulation that depending on time, place, and circumstances. So some temples will make Ekadasi Prasad, some temples will not make Ekadasi Prasad. You can follow whatever system is being followed by your local temple, your local authority, your local administrators. Because if you're going for the festival and they are serving grain prasad, you just eat whatever the temple is offering you, right? If you're in your house, then you can go according to time, place, and circumstances. So it's not a fixed rule by GBC. It's left to your own discretion.
Okay, but if one is not going to the temple, is at home, then
So if you're at home and if you can, according to, again, you have your time, place, and circumstances. Even at homes, we have things to take care of. So if you can follow grain prasad, then you take grain prasad. If you can follow non-grain prasad, you do non-grain. The GBC has left it up to you to decide.
Okay. Okay, so Gaur Purnima and Srila Prabhupada is till 12 noon. We fast, and the Janmashtami, of course, is up to midnight.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Mataji, can I add one point with your
Yes, please,
permission?
ma'am.
Aji, Gaur Govind Maharaj said that Lord Balram is a Guru Tattva and he's digging all anartha, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha and Matsya with his hala. Jo unka, he's digging on anartha from our heart. So we have to pray Lord Balramji that he was bhakti and bhakti.
So he removes with his plow the anarthas in our heart. Yeah, because Guru Tattva, so he, yes, very, very, very sweet knowledge. Thank you so much, Mataji, for enlightening us. Very nice. Wonderful. Okay. Anything else we need to discuss? 5 more days for you to submit your exam papers. So I hope that you can submit it by the 31st. Okay. All
And
right.
Janmashtami, please forgive me, Mataji. One more point with
Yes.
your permission.
Yes.
Janmashtami is coming, so our mood to do more and more attentively japa, and if it is possible, take some services in the temple, sweep mop or cleaning vessels or flower arrangement or whatever seva we have to do, because in abroad we don't have a labor is very costly, so all the devotees are decorate the temple and cooking prasad and the prasadam plate and the aarti plate for those who are coming first time in the temple, and shoes servicing and so many service in the temple. So if it is possible, go to the temple and take some services for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Sri Radha Gopinath. Thank you, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Yes, we just spoke about love means service. So if you have the opportunity to do any seva in the temple, as Vrinda Gopika Mataji said, please grab the opportunity. When we get the opportunity to do any seva, it's coming directly from Krishna. Krishna doesn't send this opportunity to everyone, and he doesn't send it so easily because he knows that we can bind him by seva. The only way we can control the Lord is by loving devotional service. So we will not allow anybody to bind us, isn't it? So only to, if you're getting the opportunity, you have to consider that the opportunity is coming from Krishna himself, and we grab the opportunity with both our hands. Very, very important to engage in devotional service. So if you have the opportunity in your local temple, you can always inquire, what can I do? Whenever we walk into a temple, we expect that I should be served. No, I should get prasad, the devotee should bring me this. But no, our consciousness, our mentality is, when I enter a temple, I can inquire, what can I do here? You go and ask, what can I do? So immediately the devotee will engage you in some service or the other. There is no there are so many opportunities to engage in a temple, isn't it? There is never a shortage of services. So yes, thank you very much, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Vrinda Gopika Mataji is the initiated disciple for the past how many years, Mataji?
Mataji, I am in this movement from last 23 years, but not allowed my Prabhuji for initiation. So after coming abroad, 7 years in a Chicago temple, Shishi Kishore Kishori deities, front of Shishi Kishore Kishori deities in a Chicago, Maharaj is given initiation.
So for more than 2 decades, you're chanting? How many years you're chanting? You're on mute, Mataji.
First 3 years, 11 round, and then after so almost 23 years, Mataji.
Wow, 3 decades, more than 3 decades she's chanting. Wow, please give us your
By the
blessings,
mercy of
Mataji.
Six Goswami, Sisi Acharya Gan, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev Mataji, Bhakti Devi Tulsi Maharani. We don't have any qualification, Mataji.
Please give us your association. Please give us your blessings, Mataji. 30 years in Krishna consciousness. You are purified now. Thank you so much.
Mataji, one more point with your permission. I add one that there is a in Janmashtami time we are doing Abhisheka, so we can go in the temple and cut the vegetables, cut the fruits, and we make a different juice with the permission of senior Vaishnava under the guidance of them. So many services. Please take some services. सिर्फ हम जूते भी रखेंगे ना तो भी भगवान बहुत खुश हो जाएंगे. मैंने देखा है बड़े बड़े डिओटीज सबसे पहले स्वीप मॉप की झाड़ू पोता की सेवा लेते हैं और शूज रखने की सेवा लेते हैं. एंड इन राधा गोपीनाथ टेम्पल माताजी ऑल सीनियर ब्रह्मचारी इज क्लीनिंग द वेसल्स माताजी in the Janmashtami festival. So Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, Shri Radha Gopinath is so happy कि हम छोटी छोटी सेवा ले मंदिर में.
Right. Yes, yes, of course. Okay. Thank you very much, Mataji. Very sweet, your association. Please always join us and give us your association. Okay.
Thank you.
All right then. Have a nice week in Krishna consciousness. Nice weekend in Krishna consciousness. See you all next Saturday if Krishna so sanctions.
Thank you, Mataji. Koti koti dandavat. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhu.
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila
Shri
Prabhupada
Bhagavad
ki
Gita ki
jai.
jai.
जय
Jai Jai Sri Ram Mataji ki jai. Jai Jai Maharaj ki jai. Thank you, Mataji.
Jai.
Koti koti dandavat. Pranam.
Mataji, please bless me and give me your blessing, both of you, all of you actually, so I can go to the temple, please. I want to go to temple for Janmashtami and Balram Jayanti, but my circumstances are such that I'm having really difficult time with
I
people in
pray
my
that
heart.
all obstacles coming in your way to fulfill all your sincere desires are removed by the mercy of Guru and Krishna, Shivani Mataji. I really hope and pray that for you. And may not only for these festivals, but all the obstacles in your spiritual life, may all of them be removed by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्णा.
Krishna.